which is a keynote speaker, a global business consultant, as well as a royal commentator who's made multiple appearances on US networks for more than a decade, talking about all things royal. It's good to see you. Welcome to the show.
Absolutely. Pleasure, John.
So this does not seem to be off to the best start for Harry. A no-show on Monday, much to the annoyance, it seems, of the judge.
You're absolutely right there, John. This judge, actually, you can't make these names up. His name is Judge Justice Fancourt, but he was absolutely flabbergasted that Prince Harry didn't show up. Now, I have heard from somebody directly in London that not only did Prince Harry actually arrive last night, but he was seen, now this is secondhand, not firsthand, but secondhand I've heard, he was seen drinking at the Soho House. Well, if he was, and yet he couldn't appear in court, that is actually going to even compound the annoyance of Justice Fancourt. But as I mentioned, he was flabbergasted. You're totally right. This is a home goal against him by himself.
And, well, Harry, he is expected to testify later Tuesday. But here's the thing. Members of the British royal family are very rarely asked difficult, direct questions, and certainly not in public. And even those one-on-one media interviews don't seem to come close to what could potentially be the cross-examination from the lawyer representing the Mirror newspaper group, a guy called Andrew Green, who's been described in the Legal 500, a guide to help clients find a lawyer, as a fearless and fearsome cross-examiner. How is Harry expected to do on the stand? And is this kind of a high-risk strategy for him?
Well, you're right about it being high risk. You're right about it being absolutely rare. Not since Queen Victoria's son, the then Prince of Wales, who became Edward VII, testified in 1891. So over 130 years ago, this doesn't happen. Royal princes aren't on the stand. Why? Exactly to your point, they're not used to interrogation. And think about this. Who goes to law school and who becomes a top, as you mentioned, 500 barrister? By the way, in the United States, we have just lawyers and we have litigating lawyers that appear in court. In the UK, it is a barrister and a solicitor. He is a barrister. A barrister is like a litigating attorney. What does that mean? It means he is absolutely an expert in these kind of cross-examinations and interrogations. Prince Harry, I believe, poor chap, is going to be blindsided. Why? One, yes, he's never been interrogated. And two, he's not versed in this sort of interrogation, which is purported to go on for about a day and a half. Well, no matter how swift you are, who can remember exactly what they've said moment after moment for a day and a half? And last but not least, Prince Harry himself, in his own book, Spare, declared himself, so this is not my personal opinion, he declared himself a glacial learner. He's not the swiftest on the stand, I shouldn't think.
Yeah, and Andrew Green has already argued in sort of the early stages of this case that there is no evidence that Harry's phone was ever actually hacked. He's told the court there's no call data whatsoever for the Duke of Sussex and scant call data for many pleaded associates. And in preliminary hearings, lawyers for Harry have put forward testimony from a former Daily Mirror reporter, Omid Scobie, who says he was taught how to hack phones while working for the Mirror Group, but he never did it, or so he claims. He goes on to say in 2002, he was a witness to a conversation between then editor of the Daily Mirror, Piers Morgan, and another staff member who revealed a story about the pop star Kylie Minogue, the Australian singer, had been sourced from voicemails, presumably hacked voicemails. Now, there's a lot of talk in this case about the harm these tabloid stories have done to Harry, especially his relationship with his brother, but not a lot of evidence so far that the stories came from illegal actions like phone hacking. So I guess it's early days, but this does seem to be a very difficult case to prove for Harry.
You're absolutely right about that. A lot of this is actually in Harry's, not only Prince Harry's mind, but what affected him and with the ramifications later, but who knows where these things came from. And a lot of it, by the way, remember this, he's driving forwards, trying to look in the rearview mirror, because a lot of this is so many years ago. He's actually saying and claiming that his relationship with Chelsea Davis, his lovely girlfriend that he absolutely loved, and he says he thought was the one. I don't know how Meghan Markle's feeling about that, but that their relationship ended because she couldn't handle the pressure. That's something that a lot of people say when they're not happy in a situation. Of course, who knows? There were a plethora of reasons. But to your point, there thus far has not been actually any concrete evidence given. And I would say that Andrew Green, as we mentioned, the very savvy barrister, what he said, the prosecuting barrister, defending barrister, he has actually said Ninguna, nada. There's absolutely no evidence that this ever did occur. And in fact, one point though, they did make one apology for one instance. They had apologized, and Prince William made a very sensible decision. He took an over $1 million settlement. What did he do with it? He gave it to charity. Prince Harry could have done exactly the same, John, and given such a settlement to charity.
Well, interesting times indeed for the royal family and for Prince Harry, in case that so many people will be watching in the coming days. And Hilary, thank you for being with us. We appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thank you, John.